Okay guys, so for today's video, this is kind of like a extension from last week's video. I wasn't super happy the way it turned out since I kept going in and off the camera. But basically we will be using 18 gauge copper wire and 26 gauge copper wire today. Basically what we will be doing is you'll be using two pieces. You want to measure your stone. So like this is a stone that I'll be wrapping today in this video. But basically you want to measure the outside edges of your stone. Let's say this is 3 inches, so you're going to want to get a 3-inch piece of wire, and then give yourself 2 to 3 inches extra on both sides. So if the length is 3 inches, you're going to want to, let's say, do 3 inches on both sides, so that's going to be a 9-inch strand of copper wire. So you're going to want 2 of those, and then once you have those two pieces, you're going to take some round needle nose pliers, or something else that if you don't have these wires, if you don't have this tool, you can use like a pencil or something of this so forth. And basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab the wire and just kind of twist it around, make a loop in that wire like so, and you're going to take both those pieces of 18 gauge wire and put them back to back. Either have it like this or even like so. And then you're going to take the 26 gauge wire, which is this stuff right here, and you're going to wrap it around. You're going to start off wrapping it around the larger or the smaller one, and you're going to go a ways, and then you're going to link the second 18 gauge wire over to it, to where when you are done wrapping around it, it will look something kind of like this. You can see that I started off with the larger one, wrapping it around, then linked the smaller one down to it, and then I was using the same method as it was from last week's video, where you do 4 around both of the 18 gauge, and then you wrap down the one of the 18 gauge strands. I did about 8 links, and then I did 4 around both of them, 8, 4, 8, 4, 8, 4, and so forth, and get a piece like this. And I'll show you what I'm going to do with this piece in a little while, but I'm going to jump over to another piece that I already have pretty much mostly done, which is this piece right here. Doesn't look like much right now, but basically, as you can see right here, you can see these 2 wires, which is where I started. So if you take the stone, figure out which side you're going to want on the back and which is going to be the front. So with all these crazy bands and colors, obviously I want this to be the front and this to be the back. So then you place this on the back and figure out if you're gonna want to start it like that, or want to wrap around the edges, and so forth. So like how I started this one was, I started it right there, and then I ended up wrapping the wire around right here to this little quartz area, and then I realized I'm gonna change it up and do something a little bit different. I took the wire and bent it to where it kind of follows these tight bands. So I made the wire go, like I made one of the 18 gauge wires come up and then down, and then I tied it back to the here it is right here. As you can see, I made it come up and then down and tied it back to both of the 18 gauge wires, wrapped them around and let them come up. So this is how the wrapping is going to sit. But I ended up making the wrapping, once I linked the 2 wires back together right here, I made them come around to where it kind of holds the stone from falling through, and made it come up, and then I wrapped it around one of the little circle links that was on the back here, like so, and I continued wrapping around this one just to help secure the wire so it's not very loose. And I had one of those 18 gauge wires come back around the side and back to the front. So as it was coming around the side, I decided to follow these bands and make one of the wires as if it was a band in the stone, and then come back up and around. And then that second cord, the second wire, I continue to wrap it around back through that loop, help secure the wire a little bit more down on the back side of it. So let me put this back in, put this piece in here real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. There you go. So this is the second cord right here. I had it come up and around, tie it around that first loop that we started off with, pulled it down, looped it back through there just to help secure it, and back and around. And normally when I'm working on this on a stone, I'll look for any like grooves or anything like the stone has. So like if you look right here, the stone has like a little like groove section where I was able to put the press the wire into just to kind of help secure the stone and the wire in place, and brought it back around and up on top. And then where I'll go from here is so since I have these all previously wrapped in place, I'll start wrapping. I'll wrap this one right here around a few more times to where let's see, let me zoom in a little bit to where I was wrapping the 18 gauge around comes up a little bit closer to this one, and then I'll start wrapping these two together. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Let me zoom out so you guys can see better what's going on. And when you're doing this, try really hard not to overlap the wire, so that way it doesn't look odd in a random place. Oh, went off screen. Trying hard not to do that. So do it a few more times. Oops. Okay, so it's right in that stage where I think I'm just about done. I'm going to go ahead and try and smash these coils together. And it looks like I'm starting to overlap a little bit, which, like I said, I don't want. So I'm going to do this, wrap it around top one more time. Like so. Okay, so now I'm ready to put both these 18 gauge wires back side by side. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out and put the stone back in place. And I just want to make sure that before I seal it up, the like hidden grooves on the stone, I want to make sure those wires fall into place. Oh, wait a second, I'm putting it in backwards. That's why it wasn't fitting in properly. There we go. Now it sinks in like a sock. Okay, so the 18 gauge is going through that groove right here of the stone, like it was made for. And then make sure that this piece right here is kind of going up right there over that quartz pocket area, and then this one is kind of following the bands going there. And if you scratch your copper wire, you can get like a 3000 grit sandpaper and go back over and just kind of buff it a little bit, and it helps get those scratches out, which is probably what I'll end up doing. So this is what it looks like before I tie those two back together. There's the back of it. And I'm going to hold the stone on the face and on this edge there just to keep it nice and secure so the stone's not moving around much. And we're going to, let's see, right. Okay, so the string's right there, so I'm going to press down and then take the string and wrap it around. So I want these two to be side by side. Get these pliers real quick and just pinch it just to make sure they're going to be side by side. Wrap it around. And again, when you're doing this, make sure that those two wires stay side by side and they don't go front and back and so forth. So I'm going to do 4 links and just continue the pattern like I was at the very beginning of how this one looks, where it's 4 around both and then 8 around the individual. If you need to split them up a little bit to help you out, go ahead and do that. I'm going to do this a couple of times and bring you guys back in just a second. Okay, so now I've gone up about 4 or 5 links. Okay, so now I've gone up about 1 inch worth of links. So now we are to the stage where we are going to bend it around and make the bell. So I'm going to lean this forward a little bit, and you can either do this with your finger, or if you have the proper pliers like these, you can use these, but I'm going to use my finger for this one. So I'm going to go about halfway in the middle and then bend this backwards like so, and then just keep using the tip of my thumb to help round it out and bring it back around like so, to where it's like that. Then we're going to use these pliers right here, and we're just going to squeeze these two together. Make sure that the stone is secure, which it is. And real quick, I'm going to, since I'm at the perfect length right there, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this around both of them real quick, just a couple of times, just to help secure it in place. And if it overlaps a little bit on the face of it, it's not a big deal, like so. But if you can help it, try and get a nice try and make it nice as possible. Hold on, I'm trying to see where the first one is. It's right there. Okay. Do it one more time. Make sure that it is not overlapping. And I think that looks good how it is. Bring it back around and then continue wrapping it around the two 18 gauges. Like so. I'm going to do this probably wrap it around about 8 times. And again, try not to overlap. just keep it looking pretty and clean. I'm not counting like I should be. So that is 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. So let's do it a couple more times. 6, 7. 8. Okay. So now those are nice and secure right there. There's the veil. And the stone is sitting nice and secure in there. If I were to bend this back, then the stone would probably fall out, but I'm going to do my best into securing this side right here just to keep it from allowing the stone to fall out. But how it is right now, I think it's pretty good. So now what we're going to do is finish the back of it off, and we are going to take these 2 wires right here. I'm going to trim them probably about right below that the 18 gauge on the back side. So I'm just going to split them up just a little bit so I can get a better grip on them, and just do it right. This one I'm going to do a little bit lower because I'm going to bring it down lower to wrap around. So we're going to do that one right there. Just that one, and then we're going to do this one a little bit shorter up to link up with this cord right there. So we're going to probably cut it right about there. I think it will be good. So now we're going to take back, we're going to flip this stone around, take these pliers right here, go ahead and pinch this one, and start wrapping it around. And try and get that little loop as smooth as you can without any creases or angles or anything in it. Sounds like there's a crow fight. What the heck's going on? It's like 8 crows in the tree fighting. I think that'll be good like that. And we will take this one and wrap it around and link this one and this wire together. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Pull it underneath. So now we're going to wrap it around. We're going to wrap the wire around this 18 gauge that already has this thin cord wrapped around it. We're going to wrap it around a couple of times so it gets about here. And then we're going to take this 18 gauge right here and make that loop and then tie it off. So we're going to wrap it around one time. I gotta pause this. I gotta figure out what the squirrels are doing and scare them off. Okay, so since we have now this cord on this side, we're gonna take these pliers again and start to wrap or flip over this one right here. Close to we're gonna make a little loop out of it. We're going to put this wire to where it's already on the inside of that one. There we go. I think that'll be good. And then we're going to go ahead and pull the wire down, or it's nice and tight against that edge, like so, and hold it in place as we take this wire and push it underneath the two. There we go. We're going to grab it, pull it through. And we're going to do it again a couple more times. Do it one more time, and then we're going to trim it off, and we should be done. Okay. And then to tie it off, we're going to loop it around this one once, and then we'll trim it. Okay, there we go. Now let's trim this one off. There we go. And we are finished. So that is how I designed this one, and started off with a very basic method, like I said. Those two wires coming across through here. Decided to add in that design over that quartz pocket there. Bring it down and around. Pull both of them back together. Wrap them together. Back on the back side, link it together with that loop there that I first started with, and then pull them back around, wrap both of them back together, split them back up, and run that cord up and around through that groove and over to the bell, and same thing with this one. So I think it turned out really nice, and I'm actually really happy the way this one turned out. And the stone is nice and secure in there.